Welcome back to No Crime After Dark, where we have to talk about crime in the daytime because this bitch right here is scary. um, Today, we might not have as many laughs and giggles. We'll have a couple here and there, but this one hits a little close to home for Tot. So um, we will go ahead and get into it. As always, everything No Crime After Dark, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm debating on the Twitter, but right now, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, No Crime After Dark _podcast. The rest of them, No Crime After Dark. So you want to start? Am I starting? Who's going?
You can start.
Okay, so we are going to talk about today the murder of Catherine Martinez. We did as much digging as we could. There was not a lot of information in terms of her upbringing or Russell Neal, his upbringing as well. I guess I should have mentioned that. So we're talking about the murder of Catherine. Russell did the murdering.
Yeah.
We don't have to say allegedly in this one because
he was convicted.
He was convicted.
Yeah.
But so we gonna have to start when she was in college. She's from Waco, Texas. Mm-hmm. She went to. Did you catch the university? I guess I missed it.
It just says she was in college.
She was in college. Okay, that I didn't think they said anything about what college, but she was in college. An aspiring model, actress,
fitness model. I think
she was a fitness model, actress. And like most college students do when they're trying to save up money for whatever it is their long-term goal is, she was an exotic dancer. We'll use that term. She was an exotic dancer. This is how she made her money. Yeah. And by trying to be a fitness model and actress, it put her in a certain circle of people. So she was exposed to a different type of people, at least in that Houston area. So fast forward, because that's where they put us. They didn't give us no in between.
She met him. She met Russell Neal.
Yeah, she meets Russell Neal. For those of you who don't know, and I feel like if you don't know, you too young and you probably shouldn't be watching this channel.
Well, I know that because if it wouldn't have said words, so I wouldn't. If they would have just said Russell Neal, I'd have been like, "Who is Russell Neal?"
No, I'm saying like not necessarily him as an individual, but if you don't know the group, is what I was about to say.
Yeah, okay.
So like, if you don't know who High Five is, the R&B group from the 90s, because I was in love with the lead singer. That was my boo. I remember that. I was like 5, but that was my boo.
I don't know which one the lead singer was. But
He's the one. I can tell you exactly who it was.
Because they were all with a tragic story too.
Cool. We're gonna get into that too. Tony Thompson. That was his name. Okay. So that was who I was in love with. Was Tony Thompson. But if you don't remember who High Five is, you probably shouldn't be on this channel because you're too young. But Russell Neal was one of the original members from the group High Five. Him and Catherine met somewhere at some point. Again, don't judge us. This is the information we have.
No, I think I have this information.
Okay, where is it?
Okay, let me tell you. 2008 is the year they met.
But where did they meet?
They met at the strip club.
2008. Yeah. Russell was rustling and was at the strip club. And this is how him and Catherine met.
Right.
Promised her a whole bunch of things. I'm sure she was excited because, girl, let me have there was somebody from High Five. Girl, let me tell you who I met today.
I mean, anybody being famous or nice looking, you're gonna be.
Yeah.
So, want to get into that industry where you're a model. I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna do, but she wanted. That's what she wanted, and that was a lifestyle that would intrigue her. I mean.
So to kind of touch base on what we're about to get into, because again, it didn't give us a whole lot of information. So don't think if this is your first time watching this, we just unorganized and don't have our information because we do our research. There was little to nothing on their upbringing.
I mean, everything was from when they met to the end.
Yeah,
there was nothing in between. I mean, nothing before them.
Right. So to give you a background on the group High Five, it seems like that group was cursed like from.
Well, name their songs because I had to look up their songs because I only know 2.
Hard to Get, Kissing Game. Them the only 2.
See, that's one 2. I had to look them up, and I've heard some, but they weren't like.
Those are the only 2 that, in my opinion,
like
yeah. Because like even the one they played, I guess it was called "Never Should Have Let You Go" from the Sister Act soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I remember hearing that song in the movie, but never attached it to High Five. So that there's another one. So if you're wondering who they are, though, Kissing Game, Hard to Get, and Never Should Have Let You Go. When you get done watching this, switch over to the next channel. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. But they were dope. They were a dope group, especially in the 90s.
Yeah.
They were kind of cursed from the get. Like there was no good outcome for. I think the entire group is dead now. Like the 5 original members, they're all
like
dead.
One just died of like old age. I mean, like
no, I don't think any of them did. Because the last one to die was Tony, and he died from huffing Freon, huffing paint.
And that,
yeah, and that was in like 2000. That was 2016, 15, 16 when he died. Roderick, he was involved in a car accident that left him paralyzed,
and then
he eventually died. Toriano Easley served time in prison for his alleged involvement or presence in incident that resulted in somebody dying. So actually, he might still be alive. I gotta look that one up.
And then the other band member, they didn't say his name, and I didn't go looking because I was just like, this is too much tragic. He died drowning in Israel trying to save his niece
from drowning.
Yeah.
So it just seems like they were kind of destined for nothing great from the beginning, unfortunately. Yeah. So Catherine and Russell, girl, I forgot his name that fast. Russell. I'm looking at it. But Catherine and Russell meet, they start dating. Her sister mentions the fact that it didn't seem like he was working when they first met. And this was largely due to the fact that he pretty much had walked away from the group. He didn't feel like he was getting his just due. They went to renegotiate. He refused to tour. He wasn't. I didn't even notice that he wasn't in the
group,
the Hard to Get video.
Yeah, me neither.
Till they said it, and they showed the clip. I said this show was only 4 of them in that video.
He thought highly of himself because he said,
"Girl, he thought too much of himself." Right, I am out of here.
Yeah.
They went to renegotiate the contract and negotiated him right on off of it.
Yep.
So
he was basically living off his royalties, and he was doing stock market and fake producing or acting like he was going to be some big time producer, but really High Five was his only claim to fame. He really didn't have anything else. He didn't really.
Yeah, because I don't know him from nothing else.
Yeah.
What that?
So he was selling her these dreams and these hopes of him being successful again and her, shining with him. And that was not the case. And her sister mentioned an incident where 3 months after they started dating, she wrecked his Lincoln Navigator that he took pride in, and it hit a tree and flipped over.
Oh, no. She flipped over 3 times, then hit the tree.
Right. And then his biggest concern was my car, not, Catherine. And the sister said, like, this is a red flag. This is not okay. Like, this man is I don't know about this man. And she didn't see it that way. I guess, she was really hoping that he will get her where she needed to be or wanted to be.
And it's the fact that she felt, at least her sister said that she thinks that Catherine felt like she owed him for totaling the car. Yeah. And it's like, I can see you feeling something. Like, even with Paul, they had asked my husband, but if I get in an accident, total the car, I'm going to feel some kind of way, but I don't owe you. We on the same insurance. I don't owe you anything. We're going to call the insurance and get you another car. So the good gap is for. Yeah. But because she felt like she owed him from totaling the car, she basically assumed the position of head of household. She's paying for everything. She's supplying their whole lifestyle, and bruh just kicking. He just chilling, doing nothing.
In the midst of him dating this woman, his brother, his blood brother, what was his name? And I forgot his name.
His name was Ronald.
Ronald Neal. Got in an altercation with his wife and ended up killing her. And I don't even know. He shot her in the head 5 times in front of her sons, or their sons, and just went on with his life like nothing was going to happen. I mean, he got caught, and
her name, they didn't give a first name. They just called her Miss McGee. Mm-hmm. But they got married, had their own children, and they said not too long after they got together is when things immediately started to take a turn for the worse. And like you said, when she finally decided to leave,
get that courage,
right? When she finally decided to leave, he spazzed out like some of them do, and thought the better answer would be to kill her in front of their children for whatever reason. Yeah. This episode ain't gonna be that long because they can give us a whole lot of information. We just gonna roll right into it, y'all. Yeah. But of course, with any domestic violence situation, because obviously this is what's been going on with Catherine and Russell. Family is encouraging her to leave. Her sister says she started noticing that she was coming around with makeup on, and she wasn't one to wear a lot of makeup, and she's covering up bruises. And what I hated about that is you hear it so much with women. It's primarily women. There are situations with men, but women that grow up in single parent homes without the father, are just bent on, I want my kids to have a
family. I want them to have their home. I want them to have. I mean, you do want that. I mean, that's anybody's goal, but it just. I mean, it's a sad story.
It is, and yes, the goal is to have a 2-parent home, but when it gets to that point, and I know it's easier said than done, but when it gets to that point, you have to, even if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for your kids. Yeah. Do it for your kids. And like I said, this one hits close to home for Todd. So that's why she's not saying too much today. Because she knows someone that was in a similar situation and it did not end well for her, or the husband, which I personally think.
Who cares?
Yeah. But it did not end well for her. And I think mostly this episode is just the mental health of things. Once you start seeing these signs and these red flags and they're overly obsessive and you can't do nothing and you can't go nowhere and they question it, there's nothing wrong with, hey, where you finna go? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because I at least need to know where you are. Something happened to you. I know where to start looking.
The aggressiveness, the more possessiveness.
So abuse goes on. They were together off and on for 5 years. Finally, in 2013, Catherine was like, you know what? You ain't did nothing you said you was going to do. I'm paying all the bills. I'm doing all the everything. And you want to fight on me all the time. I'm tired of arguing. I'm tired of fighting. I'm out.
She just got her courage,
and left and stayed gone for about a year based on the timeline. She was gone.
And the only reason why he was in the picture with his children was because she became more successful with her fitness modeling and training, personal training. She spent a lot of hours in the gym training, women and getting their bodies right. And he decides that if you want me to babysit, you're going to have to pay me to babysit our children. And I guess she was okay with that. I would just be like, I'll hire a babysitter.
Because the way I'm set up, I got a little cousin, niece, somebody.
Yeah.
Gotta watch these kids. If I gotta pay somebody, I can find somebody else.
At that time, she was in Houston, so I don't know if she had it because all her friends were in
Waco. Everybody's in Waco.
Right. So I don't know what her friendships were in Houston and what kind of, bond she had with people. But I mean, I felt like hiring a babysitter would have been better than having to pay your ex-husband.
Especially because
he's separated. You guys are just separated.
And not even just the separated. It's the fact that he was physically abusive to her. So if I'm going to, again, I've never been in this situation, so I'm just speaking from what I would do.
Yeah.
You want to be around your kids, fine. But you're not watching them at my house.
And I'm not paying you.
You're lucky if you know where I live. Because really, I can drop them off at your mama's house and you can come
get them.
And
I do believe she stayed in the condo that they had purchased.
And he moved out.
And he was away from the house. So I do believe that she was, because that's what it looked like when the sister was explaining that she was living in that condo still.
Okay, so he would have known.
I mean, that only makes sense. They probably didn't want to take the kids out of their comfort of their home, so he could just leave. But yeah, I guess he was jealous and was hating that she was just more successful without him.
That and I want to tap into the fact that they mentioned. So before I get to that, let's say this. So she stayed gone for about a year. They broke up 2013, but in the process, he's still around. He's babysitting the kids for pay. His children. And everything's going great for Catherine. And in a lot of situations, just based on that show in general that we watched it on, the ego when it comes to Hollywood is ridiculous. And I'm sure for him, coming from High Five to her having to take care of everything, to her leaving him, and then it's starting to look like her career is taking off, and I'm still here.
And to do it with that, right? And to do it
and I'm doing it without you.
Yep.
Because if he had any benefit from it, I believe things would have turned out differently.
Yeah.
But because it had nothing to do with him, it was a problem. So on July 2nd of 2014, Russell walks into a Houston police department stating that he
walks in clean shaved, smelling fresh, with a
coordinated from head to toe.
Right, matching outfit. I'm on point now. Okay.
It was the neon yellow, green, whatever it was. Yeah.
The little Nike gear he had on.
Yeah. Walks into the Houston Police Department and states that he had, gotten into an altercation with his wife, and she is now deceased. Now, as vague as that is, you can't take anything else from that, but this man killed her. Because why else would he be here? And
even the police officer that he said that to was like, say what now?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Right.
And again, just as calm as ever, me and my wife got into an altercation last night, and she's now deceased.
And so
she calls the boys, because she's just at the booking center. Yeah. She calls the boys. I need y'all to run down to this address. It's somebody there. I just need to make sure it's legit. This dude saying it's somebody there. They got there. Sure enough, he left Catherine in the floor, covered under a sheet. Now, here's the kicker. Like we discussed about his brother killing his wife in front of their 10-year-old son. Russell, their children were in the room, but nonetheless still in the house when all of this happened. And the oldest son spoke on hearing what sounded like daddy was spanking mommy.
And the altercation took place July 1st. He took his kids to school July 2nd.
Shuffled them past mama's body.
Walked them past their mother's body. I mean, it was covered, but walked them past their dead mom's body with blood on his shoulder, took his kids to school, told his kids not to say anything, and then went home, got dressed, and then went to
the next day. So her body sat in that apartment for at least a day.
All night. Yeah, all night. And then
before he thought, let me go tell somebody that she did in this apartment, or kind of.
Kids get out of school. I mean,
right, maybe they went to grandma's house the next day. I don't know, but it's just, you still let her body sit there for a day and a half before you went. Yeah. Now, here's where we get into the narcissistic side of it, because I peeped this the very first time I watched it.
Okay.
Not you getting fully dressed, clean shaven, color coordinated, So when your name comes out in the headlines, not for anything good, but when your name comes out in the headlines, you want to be remembered for who you were in 1995. Because that's all that was about. I haven't had a hit record since 95. I haven't done anything since 95. And then you have this God complex because based on the stuff they said they found at his apartment in his room or wherever he was staying at, he had all these different sayings and quotes. And then you found the article where he thought he was God, apparently. So not you trying to low-key relive a moment because like her sister said, he knew it was going to be all over the media. Yeah. It was going to be a headline story because you're an ex-member from a popular R&B group from the 90s.
And the fact that this group has all had something tragic.
Yeah, it's just tragedy on top of tragedy.
And so of course you're going to be all over the headlines.
Yeah, so this man made sure he was presentable.
Yeah.
When he turned himself in. For me, if that don't scream guilty, I don't know what does. Because all the stories that we watched on similar situations to this, did nobody take time to take a shower and get clean shaven and all that? 9 times out of 10, they didn't even turn themselves in. So that's why I believe it was premeditated. At some point, they thought it would be a good idea to release him on bond. Don't know why, but
he failed to appear in court.
Yeah, so then he ended up getting locked up. They put him through, he talked to different therapists. Mm-hmm. They said he was unfit to stand trial mentally.
Yeah.
I disagree because if you had a day and a half, a mentally unstable person isn't going to think things through the way he did. It was, even though it was messy, because he left both of the weapons at the crime scene. Apparently there was a tire rod. They believe he used that to hit her in the back of the head to knock her unconscious or at least get her to where she can't fully defend herself. Mm-hmm. And then turned and got a knife and stabbed her multiple times.
And I do them saying that they feel like he had to get the knife because she was putting up a good fight because
she was physically fit.
She was fit. She was athletic. She was very much capable of defending herself. And it was just, I think that it wasn't going the way that he planned. So yeah, he had to get the knife and stabbed her
to death. So $100,000 bond. They let him go. He failed to appear for court. He appeared suicidal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give bunny ears this whole thing because I'm not saying nobody's crazy. I'm not saying mental health does not play a factor in this because apparently there's something going on in that bloodline because the murders were eerily similar. The only difference is his brother shot his wife. He beat and stabbed his to death. That's
that attitude of you belong to me. You're not gonna go. You're not gonna live without.
If I can't have you, nobody can.
And I'm sure they both got it from somebody they know. I
just need more information on their family.
Yeah, I know, and I tried to look it up, and I can't find anything.
Y'all, we tried. We really tried. They left us with 45 minutes of nothing. That's what they did. We really tried, but ultimately he was found guilty. That's why I said we don't have to use alleged in this one.
Deal.
Yeah, because they knew it was him from the beginning. So he took a plea deal. He got 40 years, which is not enough, but at the same time, it is enough because he was already in his 40s when it happened. So Buddy's likely.
But what really got me too, because he was 40, she was 24.
So that makes her like a teenager. Because even her sister said she didn't realize he was that much older.
Right. She was 19, 20 when they started dating. He was already in his 30s or almost there.
That would make sense because they were together off and on for 5 years.
And so he was 40 or about to be 40 or something like that. And she was just 24. She's still a baby. She still had
time to pick up the pieces and get back on what she was on when she met him. First of all, I'm tired of these grown men going after these children. You cannot be 34, 35, 30 anything.
Yeah.
You can be, let me reword that. You can be attracted to somebody that age. You should not be pursuing somebody that age when you're that age. Because let's be real, as much as we knew and thought we knew at 19 and 20, we didn't know half of what we know now.
So now, right.
So there's no way
I feel like with the way that he was, that's what he needed. He couldn't have
to be able to control somebody.
Right. He had to have someone that, not saying, and I don't want to make it sound like she's shallow because she was easily influenced, but a woman wants to be in that type of,
environment.
Business, right. You are going to be the catch eye. Like, I am attracted to this. And it may not have been just his look. It was just where he probably can get me. I mean, that's any person. Like, that's any woman in general. I mean, a marriage or a relationship is something that we both can benefit from. So, right. So, I mean, but that's what he would need, a young woman, so he can influence her and act like being possessed or being aggressive and obsessive, and that's cute to them. To me, I don't want a motherfucker to call me 24 hours a day. I do. Please don't call me every motherfucking day.
I have a dad already.
I don't. Yeah,
they used to call me all the time. You were there, just used to blow me up because I was just always gone doing something. I was already dealing with that. I didn't need a man to do that.
He loves me so much. No. And I mean, again, you're young. She's young. These women and girls are young, so they feel like if this is what is. I mean, it's not exciting for them. And then they get into deep where now it's no matter what you do or when you decide to leave, it's going to be too late because this person's already set his mind to, you belong to me. Like, there is no letting go. There is no going to be no separation, no divorce. Like, it's not going to happen.
Obsessive behavior is not cute. It never has been to me, even at 19 and 20.
Yeah, I never liked it.
And I think I saw a lot of things growing up that made me know that that's not okay. But I was always taught to, and I think that's a big factor. I don't think domestic violence is talked about enough to where the woman understands, because more often than not, it's the female. Not to say men don't go through it, but we all know the larger percentage is women. Yeah. So when it comes to domestic abuse, be it mental, physical, verbal, whatever, financial, whatever. None of that. Nobody should want to possess you that much. Nobody should want to be around you that much.
Yeah.
Not your kids. Maybe your kids a little bit, but not your kids. Yeah, because at some point they gotta have their independence. But
see you later. I'm going to that trampoline park. You stay here. Don't come with me. Drop it off. Get in your car and go.
You're right.
Go.
So nobody should want to be around you that much. And we already knew that we didn't have a whole lot of material to go off of, but because it's a story close to her, we didn't want to just skip over it altogether. And like I said, mental health is the biggest thing here. Primarily in Black men. This is a very good example of not addressing issues when you first see it. That's why I want more of a background or some information on his family and his upbringing. This didn't, for you and your brother to do this?
This wasn't new.
No. And that makes me wonder what kind of trouble. It might not have been murder, but what did you do prior to this? Right. How many other people went through this with you, but she was the one who got the raw deal in the end.
Yeah.
So I don't do getting hit very well.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't either. And we just have those type of personalities. Some women don't. Some women don't have those. And like I say, it's easier for us to say what we would do because that's us. And
we know what kind of resources we have. She may not have had those same resources. Because we can make one phone call and half of a city will show up on your front doorstep.
Right.
So, and I've seen it.
I feel like too, women shouldn't hide things from.
That's the biggest thing. Stop hiding a secret.
Let someone know. Like, this is not. So you got to talk to someone, and I feel like that too. keeps them tied there because no one knows what's going on. So she's sitting there alone taking this abuse, and she's scared, she's lonely. Mm-hmm. She feels alone. Where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? Because she's not telling her friends or her family. Like,
and it broke my heart when her friend said that at the end of it, and she was just like, "Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you say something contrary to what you believe?" I don't know who might come across this video. If this applies to you in your situation, somebody is gonna listen. Somebody is willing to help. It could be your neighbor, it could be a complete stranger, it could be a cousin, it could be a friend, whatever. Somebody is willing to help. Stop hiding it. People can't help you if they don't know.
No, I agree.
And stop assuming somebody's going to judge you. Oh, well. I done got judged for way less. Oh, well. Stop hiding it. Stop keeping it a secret, because more often than not, unfortunately, it ends like this. Mm-hmm. More often than not. And even in the situation with your friend, we're talking years. Mm-hmm. And nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue. If for nobody else but your babies, get out of there. Yeah. Stop keeping it a secret. Stop hiding it. Ain't no amount of money worth it.
And I know that at some point, like I say, even if you got the courage, it's still going to happen, because it's just who that person is.
Yeah, they're not going to let it go.
They're not going to let it go.
And in some situations, you will have to completely stop everything you have going on. And I think that's a lot of the problem too. It's the starting over for a lot of women. They don't want to start over. I already got my house, I got my job, my kids are in school.
They need to take a gun safety class and get that concealed weapons license, because you need to protect yourself and your children, especially when you know that this is the kind of man that you are leaving. Period. Yeah. Because don't play.
And cut ties. Once you are gone, cut them ties. Because if we're being honest, that's not a healthy environment for your kids. I understand she still wanted him to be around.
Right, let him take you to court if that's
what he wants. Cut ties. Let him find you and he can file for custody, or let him do the footwork. Because in a lot of situations, like you said, sometimes it don't help nothing to leave, because this man done already made up his mind. But even if you leave and he can't control you, he can't get to you, who's the next best thing to get next to you? With your kids. Stop letting them go around them daddies. If this is the kind of daddy they got, he want them kids that bad, he can carry his behind downtown and follow the mission.
Then they use the kids to get you, because they know how much you love your children.
Yeah, so,
keep the kid, not gonna give them back, and you gotta come get them. Now you're gonna go get them. Well, go get them, but make sure you got your stuff with you.
Exactly, because I'm the type of person. They at your mama's house. You'll never know where I stay. And not even your mama's house.
Mama about my baby.
Oh, no, because seriously.
Okay, well, let me go tell you who gonna get kidnapped.
For real. So and that's the. That just made me think of another story, but that's another day. But. Yeah, like I said, we didn't have a whole lot with this one, because they didn't give us a whole lot. And I feel like there's so much more. I know there's more, especially on his side. There's so much more.
Right, because I just want to know. I just need to know that it was more. It had to be
I feel like we're never going to know, though, because why would his family come out and admit that they're crazy?
Right. And they don't want to admit that, oh, my God, the uncle did it. The cousins did it. The cousin just did it.
Like, it didn't just start with the brothers. Somebody else in the family did this mess too.
Yeah, I agree.
So
it's sad, because now his selfishness and his hatefulness, his jealousy, his all of this stuff leaves their two sons without, even though the dad is a piece of shit, but without a father.
And what blew me, his family has custody of the kids.
So they had.
Okay.
So initially, when he got arrested, the kids went with his parents. Mm-hmm. The mom, the sister, family, they went to court to file for custody. Don't know. I try to find if the kids were with him, but I know at the end of the documentary, the sister said the kids are fine. So I'm assuming that she got them, or they still have some type of relationship. She said they're smart, they're funny. She said that, Catherine would be so pleased with how they're growing up. And it's just sad. It's fucking sad. Like that.
It is.
Yeah. And then it's really sad to know that not only were they there when she was murdered or, taken away from them by their dad, they've watched her be abused by him for years.
Because that was the first time. Yeah, right. That was the first time.
And now they have to deal, and I hope that whoever does have custody of them is getting them help, and they're going to therapy, and they're doing, because we don't want them to repeat the same thing. Mm-hmm. We don't want them to be able to, can't talk about how they feel about certain things because they're, angry, and then they take the anger out on something else. And
they definitely need to get them babies in some therapy, because apparently, again, this is a hereditary issue. Yeah. This is something in their bloodline, in their system. Like, if they don't have them in therapy, they need to get them in there ASAP. Because we're talking 2014. The oldest son wouldn't have been, but maybe what?
I think I wrote down their
6,
age.
7.
I think they were like 6 or 5 and they're 5 and 2, and then they are 6 and 3, something like that. They weren't older. They weren't older than 10, so they were younger. Right. Yeah. And it just, I don't know. Just that. And I know they both were in school. So,
right about now, they're in their teens.
Yeah.
So they definitely, if they don't already have them in therapy, they need to get them in some therapy, because especially that oldest one, to remember those sounds and see.
Because anything can trigger.
Anything. Yeah, looking back, knowing that, I thought my mom was sweet, but she was actually dead. Like, especially for the oldest one, like that. If y'all don't pull nothing else from this episode, go get some therapy. Pay attention to the red flags. Get everybody, even if ain't nothing wrong with you, go, because you might find something out while you're there. But get therapy. When you see these red flags, act on them. Yeah, act on them. Do not hold, especially when it's when it comes to controlling and obsessiveness. I don't care what a person is doing for me. And in this case, he wasn't doing nothing for her. But I don't care what a person is doing for me. I can figure it out. I will be homeless before I can deal with that. Again, this is me and my personality. I know this does not apply to everybody, but it's never that serious for whoever might see this and this apply. It's never that serious.
It isn't.
Get you and your kids out of there. It's never that serious.
I know it feels like the end all be all, but it's not.
Especially with starting over. I get it. You established, you got your kids in school, you got your job. You don't want to start from scratch, but sometimes, unfortunately, that's what has to happen. So
I feel like, and I know a lot of people, women, are scared to move their kids from where they're at and their comfort. Mm-hmm. And I get that, because it's hard, to take your baby from a nice thing, a nice situation, to somewhere where you might have to live in a 2-bedroom and you guys are eating not good. Right. But I promise that your kids will love you for getting out of that situation, and you will love the fact that you're alive, healthy, and you guys are all together, rather than you not be here and your kids grow up without you, because it is not it.
It's not. It is not. So I know we was a little more serious, a little deep on this one. We'll be back. We'll be back funny again next week. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video because I can see where we're going. Again, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, No Crime After Dark, Instagram, No Crime After Dark _podcast. My closing words, I know we done said it 50,000 times. Get out. Just get out.
Get help.
Get help. Even if you feel like you ain't got no family, friends, they have numbers you can call. Google your local women's shelter, anything. Just get out and get help. Somebody is available. Somebody will help.
And one of your friends will surprise you. They will show out for you. So tell your friends. Tell them.
Because I'm that friend. I'm that friend. I'm pulling up every time. But until next time, every Thursday, come check us out. We'll holler at y'all later.
Bye.